Hey, welcome everybody. Is um so yeah, hey, this is Don't Worry Wednesday, Friday edition, or Don't Fret Friday.
Friday.
And you know the drill. This is the show where we talk about the issues, whatever issues you might be having. Is my audio quality loud enough, or do I have to turn it up a little bit? I turned it down earlier a little bit so that
Uh,
okay. All right.
I
'cause
think
that
you
was
sound great.
okay,
Oh,
cool.
hold on. What the heck?
And Joe's like, oh, hold on, let me turn mine up. Everything all right there, Joe?
I think so. I think we got it. I think we got it. I think we got it handled.
Cool. Hey, thanks, Cody. Hi guys. Hi, Princess, Haley, Useli, Jono. There's a lot of you guys here. Oh, Pokemon. That's awesome that you're here today. We've got questions from you to handle.
Yes.
Hiraku. Jack. Do you by any chance remember me? Unfortunately, no, I'm sorry. Maybe Joe does.
Who?
The person's name Ichiraku Jack.
Ichiraku Jack. The name sounds familiar.
Okay.
It's been a while though.
Okay. I have a hard time sometimes remembering people. Sometimes I don't. It depends if I have like an actual conversation with them. Oh, Otaku Jack. Yes. There we go.
Hey, all right.
Yep, I remember that. Okay. So anyhow,
welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back. Thanks for joining us today. So this is the show where we talk about the issues, like I said. We're not psychiatrists, psychologists, psychopediatricians, psychics. We're not any of those things, but we hope to help you in your future life as it comes. We all have challenges, and every once in a while, it just helps to have someone else's input, perspective. Even if they're saying the same things you already know, sometimes that can give you a little bit of encouragement to go on and do the things you know you need to do. So that's what we're here for, and we're happy you're all here joining us. So yeah, what do you say we jump into this thing?
Yeah, man, I think that'd be a good idea. How are you doing tonight, Ryan?
Oh, I'm doing awesome. By the way, is today Jesse's birthday or something?
It is Jesse's birthday. Jesse's our producer. Those of you who don't know, most of you probably know already, but he's the one with the black static and swerve type tonight. So he signed on as black static and swerve. He is black static and swerve. We let him do that for his birthday.
Yeah, just we don't let him do it the other days. No, that's not true.
Yeah, he sent me a text message. He said he's 29 times 5.
Which is 140 what?
145 years old. Jesse is 145.
Wow.
That's old.
That's older than my grandma.
Wow.
That's older than my great grandma. That might be as old as my great great grandma. So, good job, Jesse.
Yeah, good job. You made it. You made it this far. There's another 150 more.
It's probably older than my great great grandma. Probably as old as my great 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 grandma. Now that I think about it. Anyhow, so yeah. Anyhow, so today we've got quite a few. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like we've got like 20 things here to get through for you guys, your posts, your comments, etc. So we should start this off quick here.
Yep.
Just a roll call, if you will. No, this is just calling out names. If you happen to be here, let us know so we can do yours. Angel, Dead, Pokemon fan. Hey, you're here. You know what? Why don't we just do this one? He's been emotional complications.
Emotional complications by Pokemon fan. You want to start with that one?
Yeah, why don't we start with that one since he's kind of in line here.
All right, let's see. Let's find the one.
Just out of curiosity, I know it's been a
Yeah.
while, Pokemon fan. Is this still relevant? Would you still like us to cover this one? It's
And maybe does it?
I'll read it.
Another question would be, does it relate to the other one you have? Because they're both about emotional stuff.
You know what? If they're both about that, we might be able to do both.
We can probably cover them. Do a twofer.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So the first one reads like this. I'm really emotional and it gets complicated. I can't control it and I start to regret doing these things. That was it. And so for the second one, we have a little bit more information here. Is at school, my emotions are normal. It's like a normal day. Then when I go home, my emotions go crazy. I fight a lot with my sister and I couldn't control my emotions. And if I do, it gets really hard for me. Cool. Yeah. That's I mean, that's a tough problem. I think that's something, you know, everybody's faced at one point or another. Pokemon fan, if you are still here, just send a quick hey, just to make sure that you are here. I haven't seen you post in the last few minutes, so before we get started, I don't want to talk and not have you here. But anyways, yeah, this is, you know, emotions are something we all have, and every once in a while, well, pretty much all of us start out not being able to control our emotions when we're little kids. So it's a very relatable subject anyways. And even those people who learn how to control their emotions still struggle from time to time with that sort of thing. So yeah, it's a good subject, and we'd be glad to talk about it. Sorry for not talking. I'm at store looking for a gift for my cousin's newborn sister. Cool. Is this a bad time or is it all right to do this one for you? Would you rather us to do it later?
The
response.
Same crew as last time. Hey, we're all here. We all punched in the time clock.
Thanks for coming, guys. You guys are awesome. And yeah.
Yeah, if it's a good it's at the store. I imagine he's probably listening on headphones.
Yeah, I think so. If he's able to respond like that. He said, what? What? Oh man. All right. Well, it sounds like he's paying attention. He's saying what? Because he's asking,
yeah.
You know, he's asking. All right.
Well, let's just get started, and then if it ends up being a problem, we'll stop. I suppose.
So I'm gonna get out of the way. I'll let Joe do some talking here. And best of wishes to you, Pokemon fan. I hope that you're able to concentrate at least a little bit on whatever Joe has to say, so that maybe he can help you with this. But anyways.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna say some really, really complicated things that require note taking.
Oh man.
And yeah, no, actually not. No, I totally hear you, Pokemon fan. That is not an easy thing to deal with. When you know, when your emotions, when you kind of lose that emotional control. Sometimes, depending on the type of personality we have, it can affect how much emotional control we naturally have. One book to recommend on that would be Personality Plus. I'll put it in the chat here, and I'll also comment on your topic on the website at bss.studio. I posted the link there before. I'm going to post a link to it again. So there's that, and I will also post in a response to that. It looks like Keaton has left quite a lengthy response.
Yeah,
that, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, and if you can, I would at some point in time, maybe after the stream, go back and read what Keaton has to say about it.
Yes, definitely do that. So at any rate, though, okay, so I definitely understand. It's weird because sometimes at home, we're almost a different person than we are in public or at school or whatever. We actually see that with our kids, because at school our kids are just fine and well behaved and good mannered and all that kind of stuff, and it's not until they get home that they kind of let loose and like terrorize each other and us and everything.
Yeah.
So as parents, we're like, hey, you know what, as difficult as it can be sometimes, when because all of us get emotionally jacked from time to time, and we all have challenges that we got to deal with, and sometimes it gets to us. And so I can totally understand, and we try and be gracious and patient and everything like that. But we sit there. There have been many times where we've talked to each other, my wife and I, and we're like, you know what? I'd rather have it like this, where at least out around other people, they're well behaved, and at home in private, they're like, kind of letting their true colors shine a little bit. I'm glad it's like that and not the other way around. It'd be nice if they were just, mild mannered and kind hearted and everything all the time, but we're people. So but one book that can give you some really good insight as far as emotions go is Personality Plus by Florence Littauer. And that is a good book that'll kind of show some interesting stuff about different personality types. And once you kind of figure out what yours is, you can then kind of start to notice how you react to certain things. And so that way you can be prepared for it, and then you can make adjustments before you get emotionally jacked, I guess I could say. Another one is QBQ, the question behind the question. That one goes through some personality stuff as well. And then a really good one also is the Emotional Intelligence Quick Book. And like I said, I'll put all these recommendations there. We will have a recommended book list coming on the website very soon too. And those would be very helpful in this type of situation. But I understand. Now, is your sister, you can just mention this anytime, if your sister's older or younger than you. I know that I had an older brother, and he made my life miserable from time to time as I was growing up. But I think that's kind of how things go. Rain Knight, are you Pokemon fans' older sister? Rain Knight says older sister here. I'm wondering if that's Pokemon fans' older sister.
Yeah, Rain Knight. That would be interesting. Okay.
Oh, no? Okay. Very interesting kind of like, wow, here we are. We're talking about the sister. There she is. No. So anyway, that can be really, really difficult. I think one of the things that we can get caught in is, when we start getting frustrated with other people, a lot of times that just is us being kind of nitpicky sometimes. I know that's the case with me. It may not be the case with you. Maybe your sister just terrorizes you and it makes things really difficult. I know for me, though, there are a lot of times when I start to lose my patience and my blood pressure starts to rise a little bit. Maybe it's with my kids. Maybe it's with when I was younger with my brother. At any of those moments, what I started to find out, it's like, you know what? This thing that I'm getting upset about, it doesn't really matter that much. And I start to ask myself the question, why do I think this thing matters so much? Now, when I was a teenager, I never really asked myself this question. I would just fly off the handle and be angry and belligerent and stuff like that. So that was not the proper response that I was exhibiting. But now I've started to ask myself the question, what am I so upset about? Why is this making me mad? Why is this making me feel tense? Why am I getting charged up about this thing? Like, what is such a big deal? about this. And then I can kind of take a step back. And then let's just say it's one of my sons that's really starting to, get me going. And maybe it's just because he's not listening, or maybe it's because he's defiantly doing what I told him not to do, or something like that. And I'm just sitting there and I'm just getting angry. I'm like, he's not listening. He's not paying attention. He's doing the thing I told him not to do. Okay, so at some point there's got to be a little bit of discipline there, but for me to discipline, I should not be angry when I do that, right? So my goal then is to calm my anger down. And what I've done is I have looked at my son, the misbehaving little fellow that he's being right then, and I say to myself, I love this child. And a lot of times that smooths the waters out a lot. I just remind myself of how much I love this person, how much I care for them, how much I do that. Now, that might be hard to do with your sister. I know I've been like, I love my brother. I do. And there were times when I was growing up when I would not want to convince myself of that. If that makes sense. So I tell you, those moments when you're starting to feel yourself get emotionally charged, it's a good time to ask yourself the questions. What am I getting upset about? Does it really matter? That thing I'm getting upset about, does this really matter? Is it going to matter a year from now? Is it going to matter 10 minutes from now? A lot of times, maybe not. So those are just some good things to ask. And then I gave you those books, but I'm going to turn it over to Ryan because he knows so much about keeping his emotions on an even keel. I mean, this guy is like the shining star of emotional control. So I can't wait to hear what he has to say because I'm going to learn from him.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. I'm not perfect either, but
you're not any less than perfect anyway.
Yeah, so. At least not any less than perfect. That's true. So anyways, yeah, it's interesting. One of the things about family is that we often let our guards down. We often aren't our best when we're around our family. We feel like we can let loose. Sometimes when it comes between siblings, we have this one-upmanship. We always want to be the one that wins the argument. We always want to be the one that was right and they were wrong, that sort of thing. And that can really get our emotions going. But regardless, with family, we always aren't our best. And I think that is good and bad. It's bad because it causes a lot of confrontation. It causes a lot of disharmony. But it can be good because we can see our own failures more clearly. And hopefully our family can help us grow in those aspects where we are failing. We always show our worst sides to the ones we love most in life. And that's good because hopefully the ones that we love most are the ones that are going to be able to help us through it. But anyhow, yeah, when it comes to, siblings or rivalry, even if it's just really subtle, like winning an argument or whatever, I found in my life the best thing to do is just let them win. Even though you don't always want to do that. In fact, you pretty much never do. It's a lot better to calm your own emotions and the emotions of the other person by allowing them to have the victory than to try to have the victory yourself. Because here's what I figured out. Anytime I have a victory in an argument or something, I don't walk away feeling like a better person. Anytime I walk away from like something like that, where I get emotionally charged or whatever, and then even if I get my way, I walk away feeling regret. I walk away feeling like, wow, that really didn't matter in the grand scheme of things. Just like Joe said, one of the questions I ask myself a lot of times is, will this issue even matter 10 years from now? Of course not. Will it matter a year from now? Of course not. Will it matter 10 seconds from now? Probably not. If I just drop this issue right now, bam, it's solved. Because then there's no more emotional tension. Everybody's fine if I just drop it. If I just it's okay to let other people win. In fact, you let other people win, hey, you're giving them the chance to maybe feel successful, but you're also probably going to make them feel regret because they didn't need to get in that argument with you, right? And that's the way it is. For me, when it came to learning emotional control, I think a lot of it was just asking myself, whenever I felt any emotion I didn't like, maybe it's sorrow, maybe it's anger, maybe, it can be anything. It can be feeling offended. It can be shyness. It can be anything like that, any type of emotion. And I realize, like, I don't like the way this feels. I immediately take a step back and say, okay, do I want to continue feeling this way? Probably not. What am I going to do to change this? It's always good to take that step back. Whenever you feel an emotion that you don't like, just remind yourself, hey, I don't like this emotion. Let's take a step back and ask ourselves, do we want to feel this emotion? And if yes, because sometimes, for example, in the case of sorrow doesn't feel good, but it's not evil. It's not bad. Anger isn't necessarily always bad. It can lead to good things. Anger can cause you to have the emotional strength and desire to change something that needs to be done. Even if you kind of get through it angrily, it can be a good thing. So sometimes you can ask yourself that question and say, yes, it is for the better. It is for the good of humanity. It is for the good of myself and good of others around me that I'm experiencing this emotion. But other times you're going to feel this emotion and you're not going to like it. And you could say, I don't want to feel this emotion anymore. I can change that. How do I change it? By deciding what actions I'm going to take next. Because what actions you take are going to determine how you feel. Your emotions are a reaction to the world around you, right? A lot of times, sometimes they're a reaction to what's in your mind, but most of the time, your emotions are a reaction to the world around you. So if you take action in that world, your attitude will start to kind of turn over, start to change based on your own actions. So let's say someone says something mean to me and I get upset. I'm going to take a step back and be like, at first, my first response is going to be like, I can't believe they said that to me. That's really mean. I'm angry. And then I'm going to be like, wait a minute. No. I don't like that feeling. What am I going to do? How about instead, I just laugh with them? Or how about instead, I just am really nice. Let's see where that goes. How about instead, I just, realize they probably didn't really mean to be angry. Their intention wasn't to hurt me. Their intention was just to maybe probably boost themselves up, but not necessarily to hurt me. So why do I have to get angry? Hold on. Let me just try to boost them up for them. Hey, you're really good at telling jokes. That one was kind of mean, but you're really good at telling jokes. I really appreciate it. You're a really funny guy. You want to hang out sometime? I know that sounds really weird coming from me, but would you like to? Because I like hanging around with you. If that'd be cool. Saying something like that to somebody, even if it's your enemy and they just made fun of you, you cannot be angry anymore after you do that. And then they might react and say something mean again. Well, then you can just be like, yeah, whatever. Okay, no problem. I'll see you around. And then leave. Your reaction that you put out into the world is going to change how you feel inside, because you're going to respond to your own action. So that's my best advice. Just try to get that habit down. Get the habit down of taking a step back whenever you feel emotions that you don't like. And then ask yourself, what am I going to do? So yeah, that's my best advice. And I hope that you can do that. I know you can do that. You can get in the habit of doing that. You just got to start doing it a few times over and over and over whenever you feel that. And soon enough, you're going to be able to control your emotions a lot more. I've experienced what Joe's talking about, with little kids. I mean, my brother has several, I have several nieces and a nephew through him. And I mean, once in a while, they can get on your nerves. They can be doing stuff they're not supposed to. You told them not to do this, they're doing it. And then you get like that little like jerk of like, the dude's not listening to me. Like, I'm gonna go up there and scream, like, I'm going to show them what terrifying is, right? And then I'm just like, what? Actually, it doesn't really matter. Sometimes it helps to laugh at yourself. Sometimes it'd be like, I don't want to be that person, though. Like, people know me as not that kind of person. I don't want to be that kind of person. I'd rather cool it and be nice than get in their face and tell them and teach them who's boss, right? So yeah.
I'm gonna show them what terror really is. I can totally see you doing that, Ryan. Totally. That's it. Yeah. I love what you were saying about this being a habit, because that's so important to point out. That yes, we do get to choose our responses. Whatever emotions are welling up, we get to choose how we act upon that. But sometimes we just go with something because it's a habit. So I love what Ryan was talking about, because you can retrain better habits of responses through choosing better responses. It just takes a moment. Sometimes in the beginning, when you're developing it, you got to take a moment and think. You got to think about what it is that you're going to do or how you're going to respond. And then once you go through that thought process a few times, it starts to get easier. And then before you know it, it's a habit. And before you know it, you're just like, everything slides off your back. Your little sister shoots you with a nail gun in the shoulder, and you're like,
why'd you do that? That was okay, cool, whatever. Hold on, can I have the gun?
Hey, you know what? You want to get some pliers and like pull that thing out? I'm like,
it's sometimes it's fun to just mess around like that too. Like, they shoot you with a nail gun, and you're like, hey, wow, can I have that? That was pretty cool. Like, let me shoot you in the arm. No, that's awesome. It's fun.
Sorry, I shouldn't have done that. Bad in here for us to share. So yeah. So if you
Charlie. Well, okay. Cody comes next in line, so why don't we just start with that one?
All right.
And knock it out.
So we got Cody on deck. We've got Cody, then Yuseli, and then Vay.
Yes, Vay. Very cool. Hey. So here's the topic. If you guys want to read through it, it's rather lengthy. I don't expect you to be able to read it through it like before we start it. But in case you wanted to go more in depth, there it is.
Yeah, I mean, if you want the gist of it, I kind of can summarize it if you want.
Yeah, that'd be perfect if you want to do that.
So okay, let me pull it up here real quick and skim over it as I do this. So, you're right, Cody. It is a bit intense, but that's okay, because because I get it.
Life is intense sometimes.
Yep, it's called the Dark Ages. It's the one that's called the Dark Ages. So yeah, okay. So this is a story that takes place over a couple of year period. But basically there's been a whole bunch of drama with different girls. There's been there was a girl that he kind of got set up in a relationship with, and then they kind of got physically intimate during that time, and it just turned into a bad point of view, or to a bad situation where there were accusations of inappropriate behavior. It's posted in here, so I'll just say it. Cody was accused of rape, but it didn't go through. I mean, the police, there was no evidence at all for that, so it just got dropped. But still, the accusation was there, and that's harmful. That harmed a lot of friendships, and then there was
like in school and in their band, especially.
Yes.
So yeah, it really put him in a tough spot.
Yes. So it's definitely a tough situation. So there have been there's all the drama from the relationship to begin with. Then there were accusations of rape, and then there were friends leaving because of these accusations, and then there was another girl in there that was treating him like very horribly, but because of some self-esteem issues, he didn't want to leave, and it was that type of situation. I've been there before, man, and that is so hard because you feel trapped. And then we still got some friends, and yeah, just read it. But the question was basically, my inner demons are constantly trying to bring me down. Recently, it's gotten a lot worse, but not as bad as it used to be. I want your advice on how to deal with it so it doesn't get back to the point that it was back then. That way I can continue to be a positive influence to those around me. And I got to tell you, Cody, first of all, you're just that you're here and encouraging in the chat. I mean, all of that shows so much of what's going on in your heart. Even though you're having these challenges, even though these struggles have been a part of your life, that doesn't define who you are. And you have so much quality that I mean, we just see just from this little bit of time we've spent together now, that when you're here in the chat and you're encouraging people and you're helping people, and you took over when Princess wasn't here, you were hosting our chat, which was awesome. And you did such a great job. You're making everybody feel welcome and feel good, and like they could just make themselves at home here. And that's so impressive. So impressive. Sometimes it takes big, massive challenges to soften us to the point where we can be compassionate like that. But since I did all the talking about the topic here, I'm going to turn it over to Ryan to talk about the answer to the topic.
That makes sense. That's fine.
You see how I skillfully did that because I wanted you to answer first?
I knew that you did. I knew you did that all on purpose. I was like, all right, I'll let him have it.
This is why we love you, Ryan.
Well, you know what, though? I'm just going to say everything you're going to say now, and you're not going to know what to say when I finish. So, because everything I'm going to say is from you.
Yeah, because it just osmosis up from my head.
Well, yeah, I've been here with you quite a few times in the stream, and now I know what kind of things you would say, and now I'm going to say those things.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So
just say what I would say.
Okay.
You can't go wrong.
Yeah. All right. Hey, Cody. Yeah, a Cody Bear. Hey, that's crazy. Like, that's a really crazy story. I can't imagine. I mean, I can imagine it, but rather I would never want to imagine being accused of rape and then that being spread throughout the whole school, losing a lot of your friends through that. And then, all of that emotional turmoil, not just because of that, but being wrapped up in very destructive relationships. And then, even when you're outside the relationships, you're stuck with yourself. And if you've been, trained to be negative, you aren't very kind to yourself either. So that's a very, very dark situation to be in. And I can totally understand how that continues to haunt you now. It might have been several years, or actually, I guess it's a year since then, maybe 2, but that's a really dark situation, and yeah, it makes sense that it would follow you. So, don't feel like you're the only one that can't get over something like this. There are people who live the rest of their lives stuck in the darkness that you're in now. What I really appreciate about you is you're not playing some kind of game where you're trying to blame it on everybody else so that you can feel better about it. You're just trying to get down to the point where you're over it so that you can positively influence those around you. I think that's awesome. So yeah, as long as you don't play that blame game, you're going to get a lot farther. You said about 2 years. Okay, cool. So yeah, here's what I have to say about all this then. Down to the basics. the first thing you have to do, the main thing you have to do here, the whole thing that's holding you back here is forgiveness. You know, they say forgive and forget. I mean, it's a decent line. It's not 100% true, but there is some truth to it. Once you forgive people, it's a lot easier to forget it, rather to drop it, so it's not haunting you anymore. A lot of times when we hold on to things like, you know, we have a grudge, even if we don't necessarily have a grudge, but we haven't forgiven them yet, um, that eats away at our soul. That's a demon that constantly comes back up and reminds you of the situation and 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 just makes you feel terrible. Um, a lot of times we think of forgiveness like I'm going to forgive you so that you don't have to pay me back. But in truth, when we forgive people, we stop worrying about the debt. And then when we stop worrying about the debt, we can have an honest relationship with that person again, and we can have an honest relationship with ourselves again. And we're no longer worried so much about the past. We can move on. Paying attention to the past too much doesn't change the past, and it doesn't aim you towards a better future. Especially if that past is haunting. It just puts you where you are and makes you feel like poop. So you want to be able to look back at the past and see the light. You know, there is darkness there. That's true. But that doesn't mean that there isn't also light. The thing about darkness is the more we focus on the dark, the more it hurts us. As weird as that is, the more we become aware of the darkness around us, the more we start to notice more and more and more darkness because our brain starts to focus on it. Our brain starts to focus on the bad things and the negative things. So, like, you know, we go through a bad experience maybe in the morning, right? And then maybe something ticks us off and we're just like, oh, yeah, what else bad could happen today? And then we notice all the bad things that happen throughout the day. And there's like hundreds of things. But the funny thing is, all of those bad things could have happened to you and you wouldn't have even really noticed or paid attention. It wouldn't have even built up inside of you to get you angry or upset or mad or feeling down if you weren't focused on them. Because that's the way it works. When you're focused on finding a new job, you start to notice the job applications in the windows of buildings and you never even noticed them before. When your focus is on art, you start to look at the pictures around you that you didn't even see before. You walk down the hallway of some school, you know, that you've been in like hundreds of times, and all of a sudden you notice this paper on the wall that has some drawing on it. You're like, oh my gosh, who drew this? I wonder. You didn't notice it before because you weren't focused on art. So negativity and positivity is the same way. You got to get in the habit of you just got to make sure you don't get in the habit of looking at the darkness and focusing on it. Don't let it draw you in. Don't let it tempt you to play those memories back over and over and over. Don't let it tempt you to sulk in it. Don't let it tempt you to betray yourself for it. Because the darkness isn't out to do you well. Lyrics, I don't know who wrote those. But sorry.
It is Shameless Plug Friday.
Yes, that's that. Those all start with F, silent Fs, and a PH in there maybe too. So anyhow, the main thing I want to say about all of this is if you can look at the past and not dwell in the dark, but see the light that exists there and see the light that is calling you into the future from that moment. Because here's the thing. In life, all bad things can be made good. But it's up to you and God to decide to want to do that for yourself. So you've got to look into the past, forgive those people, forgive yourself. And that might be the hardest one, but you have to forgive yourself. Because you didn't know any better in those situations. And we talked about this last time, right? So you can forgive yourself. Look, it's okay to go back into the past and just think about those moments and forgive those people and forgive yourself. And that can be hard. But if you can do that, then that will no longer weigh on you because now they don't owe you anything. Now the debt's paid off. Now the wrongs no longer exist. Because in truth, those wrongs don't exist right now anyways. They were in the present way back then, but they're no longer in the present anymore. So it's time to move on. You can make that past into something incredible for your future.
Mm-hmm.
You can find the light in there. And you know that you are the person you are today because of the challenges you've faced. You know what it's like to be a good friend because you've had all your friends leave you, and you know that's not what makes a good friend, right? You know a little bit better now what is an unhealthy relationship and how to make a relationship a little bit more healthy because you've been through those situations where you've clinged to people who are really terrible for you. And now you also know not to be that kind of person.
Mm-hmm.
Not only did you learn about a lot of don't want to do that, don't want to do that, don't want to do that, but you've also strengthened your inner self to be able to have that fortitude and courage to push on through the future, regardless if any of it ever happens again, regardless of what someone tells you or whenever someone tries to get you down. You've got fortitude now from that past experience that you can remember and recall and build yourself up on, so that you're able to accomplish and overcome any trial that comes before you. So just go into the past, and it's okay, but don't dwell there and sulk. Don't replay the emotions and think, oh, I should have done this, or wouldn't have been cool if I punched that person in the face, or anything like that. But rather go back and forgive those people and look for the light. Look for the good things in those moments. I don't know what those good things are, but they are there, and there's a lot of them. Because good and bad, both things, exist through our life constantly. But you have to focus on the right one. And a lot of times we're quick to call things bad when they're not actually bad. That's something I had to learn too. A lot of times we see something and we're like, oh, I don't like that. That's bad. Well, a lot of times it's not bad. We just don't like it. That's different. Sometimes we don't like what's good for us, but it's good for us and it makes us a better person in the end. And we like that. We just don't necessarily like dealing with the issues that it might cause up front, but the pain that we might have to experience, or the time we have to waste for it, or whatever. But it's not bad. It's good. And that's true for a lot of the situation that you can look back onto. Is it's not all bad. Some of it can be good. And some of it is clearly bad. Yes, there is evil there for sure. I mean, I'm not saying that you were not like nothing bad happened to you at all. Like there was some clear evil that happened to you. But I hope you can forgive those evils for those people, so that you can move on. But anyhow, I know I've talked for a little while. I'm going to let Joe do some talking, and
well, you pretty much said everything I was going to say, so I told you. Anymore. See, that was right.
All right, on to the next one. Okay, so who do we have? No, just kidding.
I want to see how far you're going to play that. Wow, Cody, thank you. And what I would definitely recommend is go back and listen to what Ryan talked about. That is so important to remember, the whole aspect about forgiveness and how important that is for your healing process here. As you deal with this, to not go back to that point. You've I'm sorry, I just totally I totally got distracted.
That's okay.
Anyway, no, go back and listen to what Ryan was saying about forgiveness. If you don't want to go back to that point, healing is your pathway, and the pathway to healing is always going to be forgiveness. So while you're doing that, you can look back on this time. Now, I love this topic. Was I falling asleep to Ryan's voice? No, I'm sorry. There was a chat came up on our on our Zoom call, and I was reading through it. I totally didn't understand what it was meaning, but then I figured it out. It was just me having mental moments. So
brain mental moments.
Brought
by Anderson.
That's what it exactly was.
Sounds like, right?
That's what it sounds like. Yep.
Sorry.
But anyway, Cody, I would definitely want to encourage anybody to go back through and read this topic, because Cody, you've put it so well in your topic. The possible drama that can occur when relationships get romantic too quickly and maybe go to physical romance too quickly, you can start to see this happen. And there's so much that pulls us in that direction, whether it's culturally and just kind of the way the world is. We just kind of think that that's how it's supposed to be, but it can lead to so many issues and drama and pain and insecurity, and that's the nature of our feelings in the culture of free love, the free love hookup culture, that it just leads to this emptiness, and it leads to this, there's so many potential issues that can crop up, and a lot of them came your way, Cody. A lot of the possibilities happened to you. And man, as far as even just rape accusations, wow. Yeah. That is so crazy.
Yeah.
Because I look at that and I'm like, man, wow. And so you can go back and you can look at the choices that you made and that she made and all these things, and it just causes everybody pain. And that's where you need to have the forgiveness that Ryan was talking about. Because I see Cody say, yeah, you could be in jail right now. Yep. But luckily the story was full of holes, and so it didn't hold up, because, they had to, they could tell it wasn't true from the beginning. So that's awesome. And I saw you post earlier that you received death threats through that process as well from people. And I know when I've gone through experiences like that, I haven't gone through the same experience, but I remember being in those pits of despair when it seemed like all kinds of people hated me and there was all kinds of drama, and I made a choice, and I looked back and I was like, if only I had not done that thing, none of this other stuff would have happened. And then I get caught into that trap, but I can't look back, and I can't go back and change it. In fact, just recently today, every once in a while, I recall a memory from my past, and I think how stupid that was. And it happened. I'm old now, it happened 30 years ago. And I get this memory of something that I did 30 years ago. And maybe 25 years ago. And I think to myself, how could I have been so stupid?
Well, we all were.
And it's been over. It's been done for more years than I was age at the time. So But at any rate, if I go back and it's easy to go back and think about that and just get depressed and just start to feel saddened by that and think, my gosh, I'm so stupid. And to just go down this rabbit hole and think, what could I have done differently? How could I have done this differently? Da, 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 da. And it just starts to weigh me down. And I have to remind myself listen to the advice I give people, which is learn how to forgive. And forgiving yourself is the hardest person to forgive. You're going to probably be able to forgive these people before you can forgive yourself, I would imagine. At least that's the way it is for me. I usually can forgive others before I forgive myself. Before I can forgive myself. For some reason, I don't know. But to take that whole situation and forgive everybody involved, that's going to lead to so much peace for you. Mm-hmm. You're going to be able to be real with the situation. You're not going to have to put up some kind of front. You're going to be like, hey, you know what? It happened. It's over. I'm moving forward. I can't go back and change anything. Everything that's happened as a result of that, so many negative things happened as a result of that. It seems to me that whatever mistakes you made in that incident, you've been punished enough through all the stuff that came out of that. And you can move on. Science Rocks said it's super hard, up above higher. He said that it was something about how he can't move on, or he can't move forward in his life until he gets past something that's holding him back right now. And that may be right where you're at right now, Cody. And it's like, it may be something that's holding you back from doing something that you're supposed to be doing right now, or something that you could be achieving or accomplishing, but you're being held back by this, this wall that's stopping you because you need to heal from this wound. And wow, Cody, first of all, like Ryan said, you're not the only person who's dealt with this. I see your update. Sometimes, Cody says, sometimes I see Natasha, and when I do, my entire body and mind goes into panic mode because of all the pain that is associated with her. Yeah, we get those trigger moments, or we see something and it triggers that response, and we get just all tensed up and everything.
It's like PTSD.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
we all have that.
Yep.
Thing.
In fact, I remember there was an incident of a person who lived down the street from me. This was really crazy, and I hope I don't want to depress anybody, but just to how real this situation can be with post-traumatic stress. He was a former soldier. He had been in some really, really rough combat situations, and then he apparently snapped and attacked his mom one time in a traumatic episode, and it was really, really hard. Like he came to and he realized what he had done, and he was like, "Oh my gosh," and he it was just this horrible thing. But so it can get to the point where it's really tough. So, but the way out is exactly what Ryan was saying, to forgive. And sometimes it takes digging into those moments. You have that thing that wounded you. Sometimes you have to go back to that moment of the wound when that person hurt you and kind of relive that moment a little bit. And then while you're there in your mind, forgive the person for doing that. And me personally, because I'm religious, I would pray for them at that time.
Mm-hmm. So
I would forgive them when I'd go back to that moment in time in my mind when that person did that thing to hurt me, and I would forgive them and I would pray for them, and I would pray for God to forgive them as well. And then I would also pray that God protect us in this situation. And, going through that process of forgiveness has been so healing for me. Even moments that I didn't even realize were defining moments for me. But as I dug back in time, I realized, oh my gosh, this is one of those moments that really made me make a mental decision of where I put up a wall where I wouldn't let anybody pass this wall anymore. And I had to forgive that person in order to take that wall down so I could really be myself again. And I see, Cody, I see little snippets of the beautiful person that you are in there, with how you interact with people here, with how you talk to people here in the chat. I see that you said you don't really have a support network. I totally understand that feeling. And I hope that you're not afraid to reach out. You can reach out. You can send me a feel free to message me at bss.studio, or Ryan. You can send us an email. You can, get in touch with us on Discord. Feel free to direct message me or anything. Feel free to reach out. I may not get to you right away, but I'd be happy to do anything I can to help. And you can keep coming back here. I know a lot of these people in the chat are glad to be your friend. And you're offering your friendship to everybody here as well, which is a beautiful thing. So in a way, you have a support network right here, the Don't Worry Wednesday people. And you're already offering your support. And I'm sure a lot of people would return the favor.
Mm-hmm.
So, Cody, you're amazing.
Yeah.
And whatever mistakes you've made in the past, that does not define who you are. That's just stuff that happened. And you're dealing with some aftermath of that that's pretty painful. And I know that can be super hard. But if you can learn how to go back and forgive, you don't have to forgive them to their face, but just in your heart. Let go. It's not for their sake. It's for your sake, for your healing. And you can have that peace again, no matter what happens.
Mm-hmm. One thing that helps me forgive people is, I really want the best for people. A lot of times when people do the bad, evil things, terrible things like what you had to experience and go through, you wish that never happened. And you realize that if that person was the best person they could be, they would have never done that. And so when I wish the best for people, see, I take the idea of, man, I hate that person. I wish the worst for them. I take that and I turn it around, because in reality, I wish the best for them, because I want them to be a good person. That way they don't cause more pain like that. I don't want to get even. I just want them to be a better person. That way they won't do those things. So yeah, you can maybe think of that when you forgive them. So hopefully that helps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Cody, I see your post. Oh man, this last however long it's been has been an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Cody, you're awesome for wanting to help people out. I think that's so important in this world. This world needs more of that. And it's great that you want to continue to be a positive influence to those around you. One thing I'll have to say though is, when you try to help other people around you, you have to realize that a lot of those people are in a dark place in their life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that darkness ekes over into your life too. Those people are surrounded by negativity, and they're going to be negative when they talk to you a lot of times. So you need that fortitude that can take and bear that darkness, but not suck it in. Have a light aura about you that repels that darkness when it falls on you. Because yeah, when we go down deep into the depths of where people are and try to help them out, we surround ourselves with their pain. We surround ourselves with their darkness.
Mhm.
Um, so how do you get the fortitude? How do you get the the aura of light, if you will, around you? That is, um, there's a lot of different things. One of them is peace. One of the biggest ones is just peace, being at peace. Um, and that comes through forgiveness. Another one is you went through what you went through already,
Mhm.
right? That terrible stuff,
Mhm.
that's going to build you up to be able to go down into those places where people are hurting and say, "Oh, I know what that's like. That doesn't affect me now. I don't have to be I don't have to experience that darkness again. I'm already repelling it. I've been there." Right? And so be thankful that you got to experience that, even though that sounds terrifying. um, be thankful and use it as something you can leverage to help other people in the future. But anyhow, thanks so much for the comment. And stick around, and we hope to see you soon or next time as well. We appreciate that you're here and stepping up to be a host. That's so cool.
Yeah,
So thanks, buddy.
absolutely. And feel free to post anytime.
Hmm. Yeah. All right. So someone joined us, and that was Charlie.
Yeah, I
Uh,
saw Charlie, and Charlie said I had to go make some tea.
Charlie said she had to go make some tea. Are you back, Charlie? Have you made your tea? If not, we will go with Usilis and then go back to Charlie's. Useli. Um. All right. Useli, if you're here, please say, okay, Useli is here. Cool.
All right, so we'll do Sally's, and then if Charlie comes back, we'll do Charlie's.
Yep. Cool. Sounds great.
All right.
All right. So this one is time management. Time management between high school and work. Okay. I've been hired to work. It's my first job, and I would like some advice on what to do, except, or sorry, what to do, expect, and not do. Okay. Currently, I'm a junior in high school and don't know how I should handle my schoolwork and activities with my job. So you've got a lot going on. You're extremely busy. You've got work and school. And yeah, Joe's going to be a great one to talk to on this one, because Joe is probably one of the most um, productive people and busiest people that I know. In fact, there's a lot of people in BSS that are extremely busy, and yet they seem somehow manage to fit more into their schedules. It always impresses me, and so Joe's definitely a great example here. So
Wow,
I'm sure he's
I
gonna
don't
have
know
some great
about that. Well, I sure do appreciate your kind words, Ryan, but I always feel like I'm behind.
Hey there, welcome to the Philippines. Ikinagagalakong makilala kayo. Sorry.
I have no idea what you just said, but I'm sure it was Filipino for something.
Yeah. It's nice to meet you.
Oh, nice. Nice. Well, so Yuseli, thank you for posting. Because yeah, this is definitely time management is one of those difficult things to do sometimes. And um, wow, it took me a long time to learn some of this stuff. Um, and part of the thing is going to have to be priorities. So right now you've got a job and you've got schoolwork, and then you also have activities. Now, activities, would that entail like extracurricular stuff like sports or drama or band or stuff like that that's school sanctioned, or are you just talking about like hanging out and just in general and having fun and stuff like that? So sometimes we gotta we got that. That's a good, helpful thing to help us make priorities. I'll just speak from my experiences right now. Right now, choir, marching band, and a college prep program. All right. You are a busy person, even without the job and band. Yes. And more power to the band people. I was Mr. Band Geek guy. What was that, Ryan?
Oh yeah. No, I was just repeating you. Yeah, for sure. Band is awesome.
Yep. Band rocks. I was in the percussion section. We were the cool people.
Yeah. That's true. I was in the saxophone section. We were the other cool people.
Yeah, you're cool people.
We're the saxophone people are always just calm and cool.
Oh man, Jesse says choir peeps are cooler.
Well, man. They're definitely different. definitely not the same though. But yeah, no, I wish I was in choir, but I never was. Okay, anyways.
Yep. So here we go. So I can remember, you know what? I remember when I was was this when I was a junior or a senior? When I was a senior in high school, I'll just go with this. I was busy then too. So I don't know, this whole being busy factor has kind of been with me my whole life. I actually had to stop working a job when I was a senior because what were all the things I was doing then? I was getting ready. I was going to be a music major in college. And so I was getting ready for that. And I was doing a whole bunch of stuff with solo and ensemble. I was putting together pieces for that, putting together pieces for auditions for the colleges I was going to go to, so I could get into the music programs. And I also had all my schoolwork, which unfortunately that year my schoolwork kind of started to slide because I was, doing all this, getting ready for college, doing music stuff and doing all the auditions and getting all that stuff prepared, doing solo and ensemble, doing band festivals. And I was the section leader for the percussion section. I was like the, whatever you call it, principal player, whatever. So I had to kind of organize stuff for that. Plus I was an assistant for the younger band class in there as well. So I was also organizing stuff for the younger band and I was teaching private lessons. And so there was a whole bunch of stuff going on and it was all music related. I loved every minute of it, but man, was I busy. Oh yeah. And then also I decided for a project, what I would do is write an orchestral piece and write it out by hand, which was ridiculous. That was the most ridiculous thing.
Yeah.
My high school orchestra played it. It wasn't, I mean, some people thought it was cool. I listen to it now and I'm like, man, I didn't like it. But yeah, but I wrote it all out by hand and I would be up all night. I would be up half the night just writing orchestral score music. And then, it ended up being like 32 pages long of orchestral score. That was crazy.
Wow.
But yeah. So, but at any rate, when you're busy, here's the cool thing. Busy people are people who know how to get things done. Because you don't have time for nonsense. A lot of people that are business owners now that I talk to, they'll say, hey, if I need something done, I find somebody who's already busy and I give it to them because I know it's going to get done because they know how to get stuff done. They don't have time to fool around, so they're just going to do it. And there comes a point, though, when you have to prioritize, you have to learn how to say no. And that can be a really difficult thing to figure out And it took me years before I started to figure out, all right, where's the appropriate place to say no? How do I say no? And it just really comes down to myself. How do I look at my own schedule, learn how to say no to certain things, right? So now, there's a website online called Simpleology that I use to prioritize everything. And that's the program I use. They have a free version and they have a paid version and all this kind of stuff. But that's what I use to just kind of get all the stuff I have to do, and I get it all on a list, and then I can look at the list, and I can and then it comes up every morning, the list, and I sort through it, and I pick the things I'm going to do, and I pick the things I'm going to leave for later, and I pick the things I'm just going to throw out because I'm just going to do that. You don't necessarily need to use you can use a pen and a piece of paper for that, or you can use just a Word document, or Google Keep is a good one to use for that. They got the little checklist boxes things. But as far as when you're busy and you're doing all this kind of stuff, what I would do is write it down, make a record of it all. What are the things you got to do with the commitments you've made right now? And then look at it and sit there and be like, all right, I got to do this. I got to do this. I got to do this. When am I going to have time to do this? Now, in your case, you're in high school. I would not skimp on sleep right now. Because generally in high school, you're still, your mind and body are still going through some changes, while you're growing, while you're getting to adulthood. And so your body physically is going to need that rest. See, now that I'm older, Princess is going to digitally punch me for this, but I can get by on a lot less sleep. Yeah. Actually, not really. I still need sleep as well. There she is. So Yuseli, my best advice for you is to write it all down, look at it, figure out how much time each thing's going to take you to do, and decide, all right, what's the most important thing? Put that at the top. What's the next most important thing? Put that next. What's the next most important thing? And prioritize things based on level of importance and the commitment level that you have for those things. And, then when you start getting to the bottom of the list, then you can start to say, all right, how important are these things? Because there are different levels of importance for everything, and then is it something that I could just let go? Or is it something I can give just a little tiny bit of time to and get by? I definitely, once you have your priorities in order, then you can really start to make those decisions. But then you kind of can figure out if you want to get really organized, you can then start to allocate time for your day and just start planning out, okay, from this time to this time, I'm going to do this because it's most important. From this time to this time, I'm going to do this because it's most important, because it's the next one in line. You can kind of go in that realm as well. I also find that my productivity went way up when I started to get up early and do things before my workday started. That was when everything started to flip and I started to get a lot more done, at least for BSS, and also for my family and also my work. I got more done for work as well. When I flipped that, I used to get up and I go to work, and then I would get done with work and I would try and do all this other stuff after work before bed. And then I'd stay up really, really late and work and stay up really, really late. And then I would get up and go back to work. When I switched that to doing all the other stuff before I went to work, I had so much more done. And then I went and I did my work. And then when I got done with work, I would, eat, and then hang out for a little bit. And then I'd go to bed earlier so I could get up and do the stuff in the morning. And now I'm in the routine where I get up at 4:00, 4:30 in the morning, and, start hitting it. And for people, I would say this. You can look on YouTube and you can find different things about getting up early and the relationship between getting up early and being successful. And what you're going to find is the most successful people in the world, they're morning people. They get up early and they start doing stuff early. They go to bed early so they can get up earlier and do things before their day starts. And as tough as that is to do, because we all want to sleep in, man. I want to sleep in.
Yeah, sometimes.
I don't want to get out of bed.
Yeah, that's true.
I'd rather stay in bed, man. But, you got to get up and get going. So anyway, that's the best I got for all that. And I'm going to turn it over to Ryan and see what he has to say.
Yeah. My issue is that I can't lay in bed and think 100% clearly at the same time. Like, I wish I could be like, I'm not going to get out of bed. I'm going to do all my work from here. I'm just going to imagine, I'm going to think about all the stuff I need to do and plan it all out. All right. And write that story in my head. Cool. That's going to happen to that part. None of that happens. If I lay in bed, my brain just goes elsewhere. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be thinking about that. Cool. But then, like, what if I think about this instead though, for now? Like, I can't handle it. So anyways, yeah. When you wake up, wake up. Anyhow, yeah, I just play back everything Joe said, because seriously, I don't really have a whole lot to add on to it. But Joe said is pretty much gonna be it. The only thing I can think of to have onto it is two things. First one is your frame of mind. I remember I think, I can't remember who it was. I think it was a young gal named Marianelle. But I remember complaining to somebody that I didn't have enough time. And they're like, what? That's like the most negative thing I've ever heard you say. I was like, wow. And they're like, you got to change that. It's better to say, I have exactly as much time as I need. And I was like, wow, okay, that's interesting. And that's true. I mean, you can always say, oh, I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time. Or you can say, oh, I have the time. As long as I make the time to do it, as long as I am doing it, I can say I have the time. This will get done. Things will get done. Everything's going to be all right. So don't get yourself in the idea that you don't have enough time, because then you're going to stress yourself. But if you think you have enough time, you just got to work at it. You won't stress because you know you're going to get it done. Right? So don't stress. It makes things harder. Just remember, you can get it done.
Mm-hmm.
And the second thing I wanted to say is along the lines of what Joe was talking about, saying no. That's something I totally had to learn as well. How to say no, because I want to say yes to everybody who's like, hey, will you do this project with me? Because it happens all the time. Believe it or not, there's a lot of people who want to do projects with me, and I don't have the time to do that. I'm like, I'm behind on my own projects. I can't do yours too, right? It's okay to say no. It was very hard for me because my personality, I'm a natural people pleaser. I don't like telling people no. I always, if anyone asks anything of me, I'm like, yeah, I'll do that. Just so that they can not have to do it and I can please them, right? I don't like saying no, but that's something I had to learn to do. But then even more than that is making sure you can say no to yourself. Like Joe also mentioned, you have to say no to yourself. If you are working on something, or let's say if you have the option to work on something, or you have the option to go and do something else that's more fun and enjoyable. Now, enjoyment's a good part of life, but if you say yes to the enjoyment, you're going to be like, all right, I'm just going to do this thing that's fun for like an hour. Okay, there's an hour, and then I'm gonna go do my work, right? I mean, don't lie to yourself. You know you're gonna be doing that for like 5 hours.
Mhm.
Don't lie to yourself. It may be like an hour and a half, and then you're gonna be like, "Oh, it's been too long. I might as well just, I might as well just keep having fun." Even though it's like not that fun. You actually have just as much fun if you were working on something.
Mhm. That's a
A
really
lot of
good point.
times your body is capable of keeping up with all the work regardless of what activity you choose. It's better to be productive than destructive. Um, so yeah, saying no to yourself is super important, and that's something that I have to get better at too. So yeah, that's really all I have. Joe really touched on a lot, and he knows what he's doing here. Um, so
Well,
yeah,
I love that thing you just said, Ryan, about how, if you have the choice to do something productive or do something entertaining,
hmm
in no way do I want to discredit the entertainment, because there are times when you just need to unwind and you need to let go and you need to, you know, you
yep,
need that decompression time for sure.
yep,
But what I have discovered is that if I do like the example Ryan was just talking about, and I do the entertainment first, and then say I'm going to get to work after I do that, it doesn't ever happen. So I generally try to take the entertainment thing and make that the reward for me
yeah,
doing the thing that I knew I was supposed to do that was productive. So
absolutely,
it's just a way of putting that first.
absolutely. And a lot of times, what you end up then when you get to the reward, right? You feel you don't just feel like you accomplished something, you feel proud of yourself, you feel emotionally uplifted. A lot of times you the reason you maybe crave that entertainment is because like, man, I am worn out,
Mhm.
right? But if you go on to it first, even though you're worn out, you go on to it first, you don't feel that sense of enjoyment as much as if you did the work that you knew you needed to get done and then go on to the entertainment, because then you can experience the enjoyment fully as a reward, as a celebration, without
Mhm.
any sense of worry that you had to do something next, or guilt, or time constraints, or on top of that, like the cherry on top is feel you feel even better because you're like the desire, that good feeling that you were craving generally comes more from the work than it does from the entertainment. Um, yeah, the decompression comes from the entertainment, but that feeling of happiness, that feeling of joy comes more fully with inside the work that you got done, not from the entertainment. So, um, yeah. Anyhow, that's
That's
that.
great. I do want to share one last thing. I just came across, there's a new book about to come out.
Hmm.
You guys that have been here for a while, I've talked about Hal Elrod, and he's an author, and he has a book called The Miracle Morning.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he just is about, like, I think it releases on April 16th. In fact, I just pre-ordered it. It's called The Miracle Equation. I just want to share the two components of the miracle equation, because if you're busy and you want to get stuff done, there's two things that's going to have to take place. And the two parts of this are: one, unwavering faith that it can be done, right? So just get in your head that yes, this can be done. You can figure this out. You can.
Mm-hmm.
There is an answer. You have that unwavering faith that it can be done. And step number two is exceptional effort. So just resign yourself to say, you know what? I'm going to give everything I have. I'm going to do everything it takes with all my ability. I'm going to work as hard as possible with the time I have to make that happen. And that equation, when you get that, when you have that unwavering faith, and then you're like, you know what? I'm just going to try. I'm just going to try my hardest. Whether I hit the goal or not, that's not as important as me knowing that I tried my hardest.
And you get a lot farther with that too.
You absolutely do. And it's amazing how your whole attitude changes. You go from this moment of confusion, like, how am I going to get all this stuff in order? How am I going to do this? Da, da, da. You go to this immense clarity where you're like, now it's like, okay, I know there's a solution out there. I may not know it all that well, but I know it's there. And I know that I'm going to try really hard. And when you put those two things together, then you have this moment of clarity and you really can sort through things really well. So
yeah, I
just
think
wanted to make sure I said that.
part of that is a great philosophy for life, and that is you don't have to know the way to get through life.
Mm-hmm.
You will find the way every step of the way. Like the path is there and you're going along it. You're creating it in some ways, right? You don't have to know everything. You know, you don't have to have everything planned out. It's okay to go through it. And especially if you're just doing your best, then it doesn't even matter what the path is because you can only do what you're doing. So I think a lot of people struggle with just taking things as they are. You know, they want to come up with the plan. They want to be in control. They want to say, they want to like, you know, like I think, you know, a common prayer might be like, God, why don't you just tell me what I need to do next? You know, or God, you know, whatever, you know, it's like, you don't need to know all of that to get through life and be a saint. You don't need to know all of that to get through life and be an incredible human being. You just got to do what you know you're supposed to do. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So
yep.
Anyway.
And I see you, Sally. You start working on Tuesday.
Good
you got
luck.
this.
Much love.
You can do it.
Yeah, you
can. But yep. And seriously, if you start to see stuff slip, if you start to feel like your life is falling apart, then definitely prioritize and see if you can cut some stuff out or see if you can reduce some of the time doing stuff. So don't be afraid to make adjustments in there. But yeah, I know there have been many times when I've bitten off more than I can chew, maybe do a little bit less of this, you know, so, and there's ways to do it. You can maneuver things around as you get going.
That's the other thing. You have the choice there. Remember to enjoy it. Your attitude is going to make your experience there. So make it a good one.
That's right.
Cool.
You're awesome, Uselli. Thank you for posting.
Yeah. Thanks for stopping by. Also, we're so glad that you're here with us. Yeah, let's move on to the next one.
All right.
This is from Charlie. Thanks for posting this, Charlie. We really appreciate that. It's nice to see you back here so we can do yours. This one is gender dysphoria. She wrote, "This is probably not the right place to be asking, but does anyone have any advice on dealing with gender dysphoria?" So in case anyone's asking or doesn't know what gender dysphoria is, it's a mental condition where you are, what's the word? Delusional, if you could say, about your gender. You believe you're a gender that you are clearly not. One that does not match up with your body is a common example, I guess, of gender dysphoria. It can leak into other areas beyond that. I don't know necessarily exactly what, whether Charlie is dealing with this or if someone she knows is dealing with this, and to what extent that is. But the very basics, that's kind of what it is. It's a very touchy topic, especially in our culture today. It's one that can trigger a lot of people. So we hopefully hope everybody can be respectful and not be too harsh on this subject, and take it all with a grain of salt and patience and kindness. And yeah, so I said all of that to give Joe the filler to be able to
pray for all of us. Oh, he was saying that because he's like, no. Joe, you need to be gracious with this topic because
no, I wasn't saying because of that. I'm just like, because I'm like, I know if I'm the one that had to speak first, I would hope Joe would do this for me. Give me some time to process and figure out what I want to say about it.
Well, science rocks. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. Yep, feeling that you were a different gender than what you were actually born as.
Right.
Um,
So yeah, just to repeat the question again. Does anyone know, or does anyone have any advice on dealing with gender dysphoria? Worry face. So there you go.
Yep. Well, first of all, Charlie, thank you for posting. And this is totally the right place to be asking. I mean, we handle whatever issue that might crop up. So feel free. Anything you might be dealing with, we will definitely do our best to take a stab at it and see how we can do to help in any way we possibly can. Now, again, as Ryan stated at the beginning of the show, we're not professional therapists. So sometimes it's a good idea to go see a professional therapist. I know I've been through that. There are many times in my life when I've needed to see a professional, and it really helped me through a lot of those difficult times. And before I went to see them, I was really ashamed about it. But then after I started going, I was like, this is exactly what I need to be doing. So if somebody's going to judge me for this, then they're just wrong. They don't even know what they're talking about. So there's that. But Charlie, first of all, if this is you that's dealing with this, I'm gonna assume that it is. First of all, I want to tell you that I love you, and you are who you are, and you are who you were created to be, and who you are is beautiful. And sometimes gender dysphoria can come from maybe being ashamed of who we are or something like that. And so I want to start off by telling you that, just who you are is beautiful. And I know that there have been many times when I've needed to be reminded that who I am is enough. So many times I feel like I'm failing, or so many times I feel like I'm not enough to do whatever, or sometimes I feel like I'm not, like, this situation I'm in, this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing. This isn't what I'm supposed to be right now. This isn't who I am supposed to be. And I had to be reminded that no, who I am, this is who I was created to be, and just the way I am is beautiful, and it's enough. So I want to surround you with that love, because a lot of times these feelings come from a lack in that area, or maybe a certain area, and it can be super tough. But as far as biology is concerned, I know we live in a culture now. I'm probably going to get people are going to hate me for saying stuff like that. I know it's going to be crazy, but biologically speaking, our gender or our biological sex goes down to the level of the chromosome. So it really is written deeply into our genetic code, like what biological sex we are. And it's evident in our anatomy. We look at our anatomy and we say, okay, I have male parts or I have female parts. And, so that's a really good indicator of what I am. Charlie says, yeah, maybe we should move on to a different topic. I'm sorry. And Jesse also posted through the private chat. I'm gonna publicize your private chat, Jesse. There are people who are born without true gender, where maybe they're both. Maybe they have both anatomy. That's pretty rare. But it's interesting because sometimes we feel like, maybe I was not supposed to be a guy. Maybe I'm supposed to be a girl, because seriously, this is hilarious, because in my marriage, I'm a guy, but I don't like the typical guy things. When we go to family dinners and stuff like that, my wife is the one in with her dad and all the guys watching the game, and I'm the one in the kitchen helping do the dishes with my mother-in-law. Like, that's just kind of how we are built, you know? Like, she likes a lot of guyish things, and I like a lot of girlish things, I guess you could say. And, you know, I had to ask, sometimes we have to ask ourselves, when I look at myself and I see, okay, I'm male, but I really feel like I ought to be female. Like, what I have to ask myself, like, what makes me think that? What in my experience would tell me that I should be a girl? How do I know what a girl even feels like? I mean, I had, those are the things I would have to ask myself. So, Charlie says, surely that's to do with societal gender roles and not gender itself. Yes, that's very true. Yep, there are gender roles that have been taking place, and sometimes that's kind of how these things have gone and been built up. But I'm wondering, like, what I'd have to ask myself the question, how would I even know? Is it just because I don't feel, maybe I would feel better if I was a girl? And there are a lot of things that can play into that. And probably that's where the dysphoria comes in, because, and I think it probably comes to do with maybe a dissatisfaction that I would have with myself, where it's like, okay, I'm not satisfied with who I am. I'm not satisfied with what I am. What I was created to be is apparently not what it's supposed to be, what I'm supposed to be. Maybe I'm supposed to be this over here instead. And that, I can totally understand that feeling, because there are many times when I have looked at myself and I'm like, why was I built this way? I should be different. There's something disordered about me. But the truth of the matter is that I was built exactly what I'm supposed to be. I was built exactly how I was supposed to be built, to do what I'm supposed to do. A lot of times it's because I don't know what it is I'm supposed to do yet. So I don't realize that I was built exactly for this purpose. As I went through struggle and struggle, more and more failures and struggles throughout my whole life, it seemed like there was just struggle and failure for large portions of my life. And I'm like, why am I going through this? This isn't the way it's supposed to be. But I had to realize that I was being built for something. And Charlie says, you're probably going to go. I'm so sorry. I hope I'm not offending you, Charlie. Hope there's nothing I'm saying that's offending you. I hope that's not the case. If it is, my deepest apologies. But so maybe what I'll do is I will turn it over to Ryan and see what he has to say. But Charlie, just know that here we love you, and we're going to do the best we can to help. I know this is a touchy issue and it's very difficult. But Ryan, what do you have to say here?
Yeah, I don't know, Charlie. I hope you're still with us. If you're not, that's all right. You can come back and listen to it if you want. I'll continue on the subject. Regardless, I'm, of course, I agree with that with Joe. I think his main point is what I would say my main point is. It doesn't matter how you feel about yourself, whether you believe that you're a female or a male. Doesn't matter, because we love you anyways.
Mm-hmm.
And you are lovable regardless of whether you're male or female. And that is not something that matters all that much in the grand scheme of things. Because here's the thing, you're a human, right? That's what you are. And you're created for good. I know, as Joe once said, and I really liked it, you were put here on this earth, and that was good. You were put here on the earth for the earth's good, for the good of the world. And I think that's amazing, and that's true about you too. I know, Charlie, you and I have had conversations. We've known each other for like years at this point. Which, yeah. You know I love you. Regardless of what you think about yourself, whether you think that you're a male in a female body or female in a male body or whatever, it doesn't really change whether you are loved and adored and accepted. Mm-hmm. A lot of times when we're dealing with this situation where we have a gender dysphoria or that sort of thing, one of the main things that we're chasing is acceptance. We don't accept ourselves. We don't like who we are. And we want to change that. And we don't think that other people around us will accept us either. Well, we accept you as you are, and you're fine. But you don't really want to chase that acceptance, because acceptance is not love. Acceptance is judgment. You know, Joe and I were at Taco Bell when he said that first, I believe. But we were talking, and yeah, it's true.
Did I say that?
I don't know. One of us, I thought you said it first, or we kind of came up together. But
hey, I don't know. I do remember being at Taco Bell with you, though.
Yeah, we were at Taco Bell. That's all I remember. Anyway, acceptance is a form of judgment. And, we're not supposed to judge each other. Acceptance is judgment, just saying, yeah, this is right, but everything else is wrong. Acceptance is no better than judgment, because it is judgment. Love is way more important. Love goes beyond needing judgment. You don't look at something and judge it and say, now this I can love. Well, that wouldn't be love then. Love is supposed to be unconditional. So if you're struggling with the dysphoria, I would suggest stop trying to accept yourself, because you can't. No one can. You're not the only one that can't accept who you are, whatever that may be. You're not the only one that's not 100% okay with yourself. No one is. We all have things about ourselves that we don't like. We all have things about ourselves that we wish we hadn't done, that we wish we could do. Every one of us has troubles accepting who we are. But the truth is, we can't change it. We are who we are, period. We have the mind we have. Even though sometimes, some of us are autistic. And that's our mind. And then, you know what? That's okay. That's who they are. That's a part of them. But that doesn't mean they're any really less human or anything. They're still capable of all of the most important things in life. And they might not accept it, because you know what? Why would you, most people wouldn't be okay with the fact that they have that condition. Some people are, which is awesome. Good for them. But most people, they're like, dang, I have this mental condition. What do? I can do nothing about it. I simply have it, and it stinks. But you know what? They are who they are. And I love them. And you know what? They can love themselves too. And when they start loving themselves, rather than looking at themselves and trying to judge themselves and figuring out, how do I accept this? How do I change my idea of reality to accept this? Or how do I change myself so that I can accept this? Maybe I have to, get surgery done or whatever. But at the end of the day, even after you do surgery, a lot of these people don't they don't accept themselves still. That mental battle is still mental.
Mhm.
And then they kind of like, I don't accept the fact that I know that this is not what I was born at. And now I've changed my body and I don't accept that. That's not the right way to go about it. It's hard. It's very
Mhm.
hard.
Mhm.
And so I say all of that to say, again, don't worry about accepting yourself. Love yourself. Want the best for yourself.
Mhm.
If you're going to accept something, accept that things are as they are. And they're just as they are. But love yourself regardless so you can move forward in life and forgive yourself for not being better than you can be. No one's perfect. No one is. We wish we were. All of us do.
Yeah.
For the most part. Maybe some of us want to be perfectly evil. I don't know, but still perfect. No. You know, but the thing is, even though I know I'm not perfect, I can love myself and say, you know what? I'm rooting for you still. Yeah, you failed there, but guess what? You can get back up on your feet and you can maybe fix that next time, or maybe you won't. I don't care, because you can still live. You can still be good for the world, regardless of your failures. And you know what's amazing? A lot of times my failures turn around and turn into something better than would have existed if I hadn't failed at the start.
Mhm.
Because that's the way the world works. And so the same applies to you, Charlie. I don't know if you're here anymore, but anybody who might be suffering with similar issues, we know it's hard. We
Mhm.
understand it's hard. We know the battle inside of not being able to be okay with the reality we live in. Not be okay with, I feel this way, but I am this. I mean, we all have different versions of that. And yeah, but even though that battle's there, that doesn't mean that we're not right, that we can't be good, that we can't be holy, that we're not beautiful, that we're not awesome just the way we are, because we are. I look at people and people are amazing, including you. People are just amazing. Charlie, the stuff you've been through and you've gotten through and you're still holding on. I mean, despite depression and things like that, and you're still here, that amazes me. You amaze me as a person. You should be amazed with yourself too. I know you can't be, but appreciate that I am, at least. And know that I'm amazed with you. So don't worry about who you are and accepting what you are, because what you are is amazing to me and to anybody who loves you.
Mhm. Yep.
Look at the other people in your life that you think are amazing. You know that they're struggling too. They have their own mental battles. They don't like themselves sometimes. They don't accept a lot of things about themselves or their past either. So don't worry about accepting yours. It's just as it is. And that's okay. You're still amazing. You're still incredibly beautiful, a wonderful person, a kind person, a patient person, a giving person. So you keep being you. That's how you deal with it. That's how you deal with gender dysphoria. Stop looking for acceptance, because it's never going to come. That's not what life's about. You want to be happy. That's the whole reason behind this. Everyone wants to be happy. And you want to be happy with yourself. But the way to happiness with yourself is when you come to peace and terms with yourself. And that comes through forgiveness. Mostly. Pretty much 100% forgiveness. Because you look at yourself and you're like, that's not right. But I forgive you because I love you. And I want you to be the best you that you can. And I don't want anything to hold you back. And you can say that about yourself and say that to yourself. I don't want anything to hold you back. I forgive you. And we can't get through this. So anyways, I'm sorry for the sensitive subject. I know there's a lot of people dealing with things like this. And we hope we didn't offend you. We probably did. But we love you anyways. And we hope you can still love us. And again, we don't know everything about every subject. We probably aren't experiencing these types of symptoms or situations necessarily with gender dysphoria. I myself had thoughts when I was a child about, hey, what would it be like if I was a girl? I feel like I would be more at home if I was a girl. Like that's like more in line with who I am. But then the more I thought about it, the more I realized, no, I'm just a guy. So I didn't really have that. And Joe probably didn't have that either. So no, we can't necessarily relate to the subject. But from an outsider look, we can give you a perspective to the different situations that we've been through in life. And hopefully those become useful to you. That's really the best we've got.
Yep. So, and my apologies too if I said anything that was offensive to anybody and you want to murder me in the chat, that's totally cool.
Murder.
But as Ryan said, you're amazing the way you are, and you are loved here. And we want you to be the best version of yourself possible. And to be at peace with who you are. That, that'd be ideal for you to be happy.
Yeah, absolutely. We want you to be happy, Charlie.
Mm-hmm.
We want everybody to be happy.
That's right. That's why we do this.
That is why we do this.
Sometimes it's a painful road to get to happiness.
That is true. That is very true. Sometimes, yes, absolutely. It is a painful road. But the pain is rewarding.
Right.
Like sacrifice. It's a gift.
Yep. So you're awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. And thank you, Charlie. If you're still listening, thank you so much. And if you go back and listen to this, thank you for posting. And hopefully you'll come back and see us again.
Yeah. So anyways, this is kind of like the 2-hour mark. So, Jesse said it's 2-hour mark on the dot.
On the dot.
On the dot.
I don't know if I necessarily believe that though.
Which is funny because I read that with my dyslexia, which is weird because dyslexia usually makes words into other real words. This time it didn't. I thought it said 2 hours on the doot. I don't know why my brain added extra O in there, but like DOOT. 2 hours on the doot.
Duty.
Doot. Oh, duty. Did you do your due diligence?
Due diligence duty.
Duty. Doot. I don't know. Is doot a word? Is it in the dictionary?
I don't know.
Is boop in the dictionary?
Probably.
I think it's an onomatopoeia, isn't it?
Onomatopoeia.
Is it? Is boop an onomatopoeia?
Maybe. Meep.
Boop. Let me tell you, I don't want to be an onomatopoeia.
I don't. You don't?
No, I don't want to be an onomatopoeia because what would Ryan be? It would be like, wow, that was a Ryan. That like, yeah, I don't want to be a
static an onomatopoeia.
Static isn't an onomatopoeia. Okay, I'm done.
An onomatopoeia.
Not an onomatopoeia.
Not an onomatopoeia.
Nope.
Is it non-onomatopoeia?
Not an onomatopoeia.
Is it not a non-onomatopoeia?
Oh, it is not a non-onomatopoeia.
So if it's not an onomatopoeia, is it a non-onomatopoeia?
It is not onomatopoeia.
Oh my goodness.
Wow. It's not a non-onomatopoeia. You try to say it, man. That's a mouthful.
It is an onomatopoeia. So if it's an onomatopoeia that's anonymous.
Onomatopoeia. Oh no, oh no, po no to po no motopia.
Oh,
well
man.
said, science. Well said.
That's an amazing word right there.
Yes.
That word is almost too long for YouTube.
Yeah, I'm surprised YouTube didn't like censor it and like this is just nonsense because that happened.
Yep. Oh wow.
Wow. Well,
so awesome. Well, Vay, I see you're here and you were next in line. So if you come back on Wednesday.
Yeah, Vay, we would love to have you. Oh, Kendra's here?
Yep, Kendra's here. Kendra has one.
Kendra has one. Okay.
But it's let's see. Kendra has one that we did the new video jitters one.
Oh yeah, there's just the new one. Okay. Depressed and undeserving. Kendra, don't you use that word. Okay. Anyways,
you know about Ryan and the whole deserving thing.
Yeah, you're not allowed to use that word here. No, you can use it. That's fine. Anyways, we love you guys. Thank you for joining us. We hope that you've had yourself a wonderful time. Even if, times can be hard sometimes. And we can talk about some dark issues or some really tense issues. We hope that you at least felt enlightened, helped, or humored at least at some point during this stream. And we hope to see you guys next time on Don't Worry Wednesday.
Right here
on Don't Worry
Subscribe.
Wednesday. Next
Be
time.
a subscriber.
Yeah.
And go to bss.studio because it's awesome.
Mm-hmm. And if you guys have any more questions, feel free to write into the website or send us an email. If you would like to be anonymous, just send us an email and say, hey, you want to be anonymous. Then we won't release your name and you're all good. Anyways, yeah. See you guys next time. Much love.
Love you guys.